There's a teaching in Ayurveda that's really beautiful, a principle, and it is pragya pradha. And what that phrase means is a crime against wisdom or a crime against nature. And it's the underlying cause in Ayurveda for all disease. All imbalance starts with a crime against wisdom. In other words, acting in a way that is antagonizing to my highest good. And what's so challenging about working through some of these ancient teaching methodologies in modern culture is that we have been indoctrinated to believe that there is a standard, fixed, set way to be healthy, to be thin, to be, whatever it is we're attempting to achieve, to have money, to be successful, to whatever, be pregnant, give birth. And there's no one set way. Everything I take in through my body, my mind, my spiritual perspective is going to impact me based on my relationship to it. So if I'm taking in a bunch of food that I read in a magazine would make me healthy, but I am not connected to it in any sort of pleasure-based way or sense of intuition around how it's actually making me feel, it's not going to have the desired effect. And most of us, the desired effect is, I want to be free from pain. I don't want to be suffering. So I'm thinking about this in relationship to all things, how we relate to each other as people, how we relate to our food and what we choose to feed ourselves. And, so many of us have these really big hang-ups around I just need to get this taken care of and then I'll feel fine. I just need to get my food under control. I just need to lose a little bit of weight. I just need to, I'm in a postpartum time, and so I'm speaking to a lot of women in the same phase, and I just need to get my body back. And what I am experiencing myself, and perhaps this will be useful, my body is inextricably connected to my child. And not only because I'm breastfeeding, but because we co-regulate one another's nervous systems, because he is still so fresh from my body, my nutritive experience, my movement experience. He's on my body most of the day. And that is an entirely new reality. And it would be a crime against nature for me to behave as though we weren't so deeply connected. It is a crime against nature for new mothers and parents to not have communal support, to feel as though the burden is entirely theirs and theirs alone. There is nothing in nature that exists in a vacuum. And in our culture, mothers, new parents exist in a vacuum. Eventually you'll be fine, you'll get through it, you'll bounce back. And no, that will never happen. It's this ushering into an entirely new way of being. And there's something so deeply earth-based, earthen, about birthing, about creating from my body another body, to be the conduit for this separate being who is also made of me. And this time is highlighting for me how deeply disconnected I have been actually from the earth and the way it actually functions. There is a necessary deepening, sinking and digging in process that has to happen. So much of the work of growth is underground. And I know I'm not saying anything new or profound here, but specifically with regard to, I think, just maturation of our human bodies. It is essential that we begin to extract more of our medicine from deeper within ourselves and pull back some focus from the surface layer, the superficial, because what will ultimately express itself outwardly is a function of what is happening deep inside. And so I can speak for myself here, this feeling of like, I don't look like myself, I don't feel like myself, I'm not expressing like I would have before. Well, that's because I am not that. And there's this deep and as of yet untapped resource inside of me in the fact of my earthly body that I need to take more time to investigate and understand. But there's not a lot of support. I'm extremely privileged in the fact that I do actually have a lot of time to do that kind of work, but there's not much support in most families and most communities in the workplace to slow down enough to do that kind of recalibrating. And it's okay to feel resentment. It's okay to feel overwhelmed when you're at the precipice of something entirely new. And I imagine, I only have one child, but I imagine each child you have, it's like a new level of depth. It's a new taproot. It's a new being that has moved through your body, and your body is different with every single pregnancy. So, just as a point of inquiry, pragya pradha, crime against wisdom. What is the area of your being, physical, emotional, spiritual, where you feel antagonism? And what could shift so that you are acting more in alignment with what actually is the growth process and how that actually works? The pruning process and how that actually works. Are you giving yourself appropriate time to make the changes that you desire? And are there realistic expectations in place? And just as a kind of aside, but final note for this, I reached out for support on Monday from a friend and a peer. I was feeling so out of sorts. And 30 minutes of having someone else hold space for me to have feelings without a need to fix them or change them or augment them or shut them off so that I could be present for someone else. Like, just to have someone else be entirely present for me, 30 minutes. I've been floating through the last few days in this, like, moving with ease. So another expression, I think, of this crime against wisdom is to move forward as though there is nothing antagonizing or holding us back, that we're kind of fighting against. There's definitely effort in nature, but it's not a fight. It's not painful. Wednesday thoughts. I'd love to hear what you hear in this.